On Larry King Now, Andy Richter, the funny man on being Conan's sidekick. What makes a good sidekick?
A profoundly codependent personality.
On the highs and lows of the entertainment business.
You know, I came out here and I was the star of 3 different sitcoms. I felt a little chewed up and spit out, you know.
Yeah.
And there's a you know, things come in threes, like 3 strikes.
On stirring up some late night drama.
I can take insults, but flirting terrifies me. You know, she'd been on the show a number of times, and like I say, I like her. So I know what she's gonna. I know at some point
she's gonna slap.
I can expect just a sideways slap.
Plus,
a big dividing line is in the commercial break when you say hello to somebody. Are they still in publicity mode? Because that I just feel like, what are you doing? You can be off the clock with me. I don't care.
It's all next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now. He's one of my favorite people. He's Andy Richter, the actor and writer. He starred in the Emmy-nominated Fox series, Fox. Andy Richter controls the universe, and they faxed that show out. And Andy Barker, P.I. on NBC. But he's best known for his role as the announcer and sidekick to Conan O'Brien on the show Conan, which airs weeknights on TBS. Before we get into anything else.
All right.
No doubt there's been serious discussion about your exchange with Chelsea Handler.
Well, I don't know how serious the discussion's
Apparently,
been.
Chelsea asked Conan and Andy if they enjoy the ocean. Andy said, I like the ocean. Chelsea responded, that's great. Do you float a lot in the ocean? Andy was one step ahead of her and said, sure. Do you sink? It might be that cast iron heart.
Yes.
What happened since then?
Well, I say smart aleck crap to people all the time.
Like me.
Yes, like you, exactly.
Yeah.
You've been a constant target. Well, and not just me. Our entire show is made a cottage industry out of picking on you.
So what happened with Chelsea?
You know, she said that, and I like Chelsea. You know, she's been on the show a number of times. She used to actually. I used to be more kind of off-put by her because she would do, I mean, you know, she makes fat jokes. That's something she does frequently. But she used to kind of make fat jokes and then say something, you know, like, but boy, I'd climb all over you all night. Things like that, or something, you know. So she'd sort of
a cop out.
Yeah, well, no, like slap me and then flatter me, and you know, and flirt with me. Yeah, kind of a cop out, I guess. But the flirting is I can take insults, but flirting terrifies me. You know, she'd been on the show a number of times, and like I say, I like her. So I know what she's gonna. I know at some point
she's gonna slap.
I can expect just a sideways slap. But you know, it got onto Facebook, and people are way more upset about it than I was. To me, it was just a chance to be a smart aleck.
Was she upset at your retort?
Oh, I don't think so. She laughed at the time, and I mean, I don't get the feeling that that she gets hurt. Her feelings don't get hurt.
Why did that go viral?
I have no idea. I mean, I am a genius.
Admittedly.
Yeah, and I mean, no, I think it just was. People look for those kind of like little punchy little nuggets that get to be easily taken out.
When Richter speaks, people listen. That could be it.
Only.
Now, your buddy
tell
Conan,
that to my family.
Your buddy, I understand, was stirring up his own drama online this week with former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright.
Yes.
At Conan O'Brien, he said, I picked out my Halloween costume. I'm going as slutty Madeleine Albright.
Yes.
And at Madeleine Albright, she retorts, I'm considering going as hunky Conan O'Brien, but that might be too far-fetched.
Right.
How do you get into a slugging war with our friend, my dear friend, the Jewess Madeleine Albright?
The Jewess?
Yes,
does she have that on her business card?
She found out late, but she is a Jewess. How did that start?
Well, I love, too, that she is kicking his ass in retweets and favorites.
I know, it's going on and on.
Yeah. That starts because he said something kind of snotty about Madeleine Albright, and God bless her, she struck back at him. You know.
I want to ask, in this modern world, who comes up with the idea of picking on Madeleine Albright? I mean, where did that come from?
Oh, there are plenty of times. Look, because I'm active on Twitter, and there's plenty of times where you think of a joke, and then you need a name. You know, and and so you kind of think like, who would be the funniest name? And so he probably went through like, oh, maybe Barbara Walters. No, that wouldn't work. You know, let's see. He probably, you know, because it's making fun of an elderly woman, and so yeah. I mean, it's a little sexist. It's a little ageist, and you know, God bless her. She came back. Yeah. That's great.
Was it your idea to have me in the rafters?
No, it was not my idea. I actually don't know whose idea it was, but it was great.
We did it 3 or 4 times.
It was great.
I told her I'd go back and do it.
I
haven't had it in a while.
And those rafters are historic. You can see.
Oh wow! You climb up.
It's
autographs.
Yeah, there's like 70-year-old.
I know.
Graffiti
Bogart
up there.
Yeah, really weird. By the way, what makes someone a sidekick?
A sidekick?
What makes a good sidekick?
A profoundly codependent personality. You know, I don't. You know, in some ways, I feel like I was tailor-made for this position. Yeah, because you know, I'm sort of a middle child in the family, and I was always kind of the keeper of the morale in the family, and in many ways. I think that going through my life, I've always kind of, before I ever had to answer the question of what do I want, I've been around people who let me know what they wanted first.
Second banana.
Yeah, so I'm kind of like, all right, well, we'll do what you do. And in some ways, it's a neuroses, you know, and there's plenty of times now where I think like, you know, I should maybe have a little more firm opinions about what I expect out of this
Tony
life.
Randall's played that role.
Yeah.
It's the second guy in a movie, Rock Hudson.
Yeah.
We need a best friend. More with Andy Richter coming up next. Don't go away. We're back with one of my favorite people, Andy Richter, sidekick of Conan. How did you and Conan hook up?
We hooked up at Junior's Deli here in Los Angeles.
Where you met?
Yeah, that's where we. That's the way that it worked is that I had a friend who was on Saturday Night Live for a season when I was in New York doing a live show, and I met Robert Smigel there, who was a writer at SNL at the time, and then the same live show that I was doing in New York came out to LA in one summer, and Robert was here. Working on the ill-fated Hans and Franz movie, which Arnold Schwarzenegger pulled the plug on because he was poking fun at himself in Last Action Hero and it bombed. So no more making fun of myself. So I met Robert and we hit it off. I mean, we just kind of basically went out drinking and driving a lot. That's what you do when you're young and stupid in Los Angeles. And then when Conan got the job, which I just heard about, you know, the same way anybody else did. It was, this Simpsons writer. Robert and Conan had been friends and done a lot of work together, and Robert was kind of part of the deal. Right? It was Robert was going to be the kind of head writer of the show.
Met at the deli.
And yeah, and then Robert facilitated a meeting, and we.
Hit it off.
We hit it off. Yeah, I think he was fascinated by the fact that I ordered borscht and a knish.
It's Russian and
for him that was like Martian food. You know. Yeah, and I left the Conan show in 2000. And
why did you leave?
To come out here and try to do stuff for myself. That was
late night, right?
Yeah, I left a late night show in 2000, and I came out here, and I had, I was the star of 3 different sitcoms, 2 of which I had a hand in producing and creating, and one of which I was kind of just an actor in. And for some, you know how TV is, for one reason or another.
Did you miss Conan when you were away?
Yeah, but I mean, we did. It's not like we didn't keep up. It's not like we weren't friendly. Yeah. And every time I went back to New York, I used to just go there and
then
hang
he
out.
came out here to do the Tonight Show. You hooked up again, right?
He asked me before he came out. We had a secret dinner in New York. I flew out to have a secret dinner, and
dinner.
Yeah. Well, he actually asked me on the phone. He called me one night at home, which wasn't unusual. I mean, we would chat on the phone, but he called me, and it was weird because when I picked up the phone and it was him, and I said hello, and I thought, I wonder if he's going to ask me to do the Tonight Show with him. And I hadn't thought of it at all. It was just something, and he did. He asked me. And
you say yes right away?
Pretty much. I said, I'm going to talk to my wife about it. But, there was a part of me, the main reason was because I was happy. Number one, I came out here and I was the star of 3 different sitcoms. I felt a little chewed up and spit out, Yeah. And there's things come in threes, like 3 strikes. And then it was a little bit like, yeah. You in a sitcom, right. So I was really happy, and I also was trying to develop things, which is an awful process. It's pearls before swine, if I may say. And I was happy to just go back to a place with people that I knew and loved, and just be able to make TV every day. Go and make TV every day, like what you do here. You just get to make TV every day. You don't have to
Okay. Yeah, it's
think
fun.
about it and run it through all these filtration systems.
In 2010, TV Guide named the NBC Late Night Time Slot Shuffle the biggest television blunder of all time.
Yes.
The switching.
Well,
probably way up there, isn't it?
Yeah, I should think so.
What were they thinking?
They just didn't want to let anybody go. The people I think in charge they made decisions and then backed off on their decisions and tried to, it's like, it was as ridiculous as some ridiculous farcical thing where you ask 2 girls to the dance, and then instead of telling one, look, I asked her first, you try and take them both,
I've had that happen. Why? Many times. Why? What was the thinking behind Jay Leno, nightly at 10 o'clock, stripped, could work?
It was cheap. That was the main thing.
Obviously, right.
Yeah. It was cheap, and I think they're thinking, which I think they were doing with generally with the network was, do cheaper shows. They might get less ratings, but because they're so much cheaper, we'll still be able to keep the profits about the same. And I think that they thought that somehow that might work.
You were openly angry, you and Conan.
Yes, I was. Yeah, because it really hurt our lead-in, and then the lead-in of those kind of things. It's tremendously important how many eyes are on the show previous to your show.
And then what did you make of the decision that Jay comes back and Conan goes?
Well, that decision was made. I guess there was that sort of like, we'll give Jay a half hour, and then the Tonight Show will be on at
midnight,
12:01 or something like that. And I actually was very proud of Conan that he said, "Look, forget it." Because I don't think it just would have been eventually. We just would have gotten pushed more and more and more, and Jay just would have. I think eventually, within a year or so, they would have said, "Look, we're just going to give Jay."
So Conan goes to TBS.
Yes.
Did you go right away? Say
absolutely.
Yes? Yeah.
I felt I was kind of with him no matter what happened, because number one, I knew something was going to happen, and I also felt like the story. We didn't get to end the story. That somebody else had ended the story, and I felt like I can't step away now. That this is ongoing, and I don't want. I didn't want this part of my life to be decided by mismanagement. I wanted it to be decided by kind of my own active choice.
And happy, of course.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Were you a stand-up?
No, I did improv comedy in Chicago.
Second City.
I didn't do Second City. I went Improv Olympic, which is also known as IO now. Apparently the Olympic Committee got mad about the trademark infringement, so they become IO. But Del Close is one of the kind of inventors of modern long-form comedic improvisation, taking it from just being a theater exercise into being an actual sort of performance.
Coming up more with my friend Andy Richter. Stay with us. We're back with Andy Richter. What's the I'm with Coco?
The I'm with Coco, that was something that kind of came out between the Tonight Show and doing the TBS show when we became, I don't know, folk heroes or something.
He did shows around the country, right?
Yeah,
Were you on those shows?
I was. Part of his agreement with NBC was that he couldn't be on television. So
you did Radio City.
Yeah, we did a number of live shows. A big part of that was I was still under contract to NBC, so I continued to be paid for a number of months after we left the Tonight Show. But the guys in the band were not getting paid, and a big part of it was just a way to kind of keep people getting paid.
Conan's a great guy.
He's a wonderful person. Yeah, very kind and very generous. He can be a real dick sometimes, too, but he's, you know.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Illinois, in the Midwest.
Chicago?
Yeah, outside of Chicago, but I mean, you know, it was about an hour outside of Chicago, but for as scared and white as we were, we might as well have been 4 hours outside.
What did your parents think of your success and everything?
Of my success? They were relieved, yes. They were very relieved, I think. They were always very supportive, but I don't think that they...
Thought you could make it?
Well, I don't think that it was as if I said I was gonna, be a dancer. I mean, I don't think that they thought that that was something that anybody did for a living. And they didn't understand how it could work that you could do that for a living.
What was Andy Richter Controls the Universe like?
It was great. That was the first show that I did when I left Conan, and we got nominated for an Emmy for writing. And it was a very well-received show. It was very critically well-received. Had a great cast, great writers, and just nobody saw it. You know, you get kind of jerked around. You know, I mean, I think we were on 4 or 5 different time slots.
What network?
On Fox. And it was also too. It was a lot of it is just who's running the network, and I think that we had so much support within the network among kind of the mid-level structure and the people that actually did the programming. But once you got to the kind of the men in the private jets, they didn't. They were like, "What's this show about?"
Networks can be weird.
Yeah, very weird.
Tim Conway and I, on my old radio show, said, we're going to do an NBC sitcom.
Yeah.
A show together, me and him, right? And we scheduled it out on our own, out of our head.
Yeah, yeah.
We called up one day, and we came to NBC in Burbank.
Yeah.
And they had a studio for us.
Really?
Yeah, to do our project.
Right.
We never called it.
That's good.
We were slated for Friday nights.
I don't think you can get away with that anymore. Although at NBC, maybe you could.
Would you go back to acting?
Oh, sure, yeah. I still, when people are amenable to, when TV shows kind of are flexible about their schedule and they can work around my Conan schedule, I still do guest spots. I did guest spot on The Millers just recently, the Will Arnett show on CBS.
That's a good show.
Yeah, it's a great show and doing real well.
Now, when you, like I asked you who's on Conan tonight, you didn't know.
No, I don't know who's
So your daily life is like, what time do you get to the studio?
Usually, well, a lot of times because I'll drop my kids off at school and I'll go to the gym, and work out or whatever. But I'm there probably between 10 and 11. My day doesn't really get started. Rehearsal starts at 1, and that's kind of when I take over.
What do you rehearse?
Huh?
What do they rehearse?
You've been there,
Yeah, but you do bits.
Yeah, we do bits. We have to. Well, but you You got to position the cameras. You got to cut the jokes that aren't good.
I love going on Conan.
Oh, good.
It's a
We
great
love
show to-
having you.
yeah, it's a great show to go
No,
on.
it's always great to have you.
You were also a force on Celebrity Jeopardy, huh?
A force. I like the way that
Well,
sounds.
you're a master.
I
of
did
trivia.
well. I did well. Yeah.
Do
I'm
they
real
ask tough
smart,
questions
Larry.
on that? Do they do tough questions?
Yeah. Well, though the Celebrity Jeopardy is.
Well, I went on that.
It's dumbed down.
You know who beat me? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Oh.
And the category we give to charity, right?
Yeah.
The category he won was British royalty,
Oh, really?
and he majored in European royalty at UCLA.
Wow. That's a
Wiped
major?
Wiped us out. Yeah,
Wow.
wiped us out. Do you
Wow.
have? What do you have? Favorite categories?
No, I don't know, because I'm smart about everything. No, I would be actually the thing that would kill me would be sports trivia. I don't know, you know.
that I know.
Yeah, you
That
would
I
know.
would do
You
that.
would know that. Sports trivia, I wouldn't.
You're not a
No.
sports fan.
I am sorta, but I mean, but not enough to remember trivia. I'm a playoffs fan. I don't pay attention to anything until it matters. Like sitting and watching a baseball game on TV in July, to me, seems like the most ridiculous waste of time. Now, if we go to the park, I'll sit and watch a game in July because there's beer and hot dogs and it's fun to watch it. But until it matters, I know. I've been watching it like this World Series. I've really been enjoying this World Series.
Me too. What kind of father are you? Are you go close? Are you on top of things?
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the wonderful things about my job is that I live 5 minutes from work. I am with my kids a lot. It's really being on TV doesn't matter that much, but being with my family and being a husband and a father is what really.
How old are the
matters.
kids?
I got a son he's almost 14 and a daughter who's 9. So yeah, no, we're
Do they get along?
Yeah. They do. And my son is actually really so patient and so nice, although he's, getting to be a surly teenager.
That's the worst. I got 14 and 15.
Yeah.
They don't talk enough.
No, they don't want to.
Are they on the computer? Are they on the iPhone?
Yeah, he is. But, he also is pretty reasonable. Like, you can get it away from him, and he'll
Really?
and he'll kind of say, like, oh, all right, you can go into his room and say, give me the phone. I'm going to go plug it in somewhere. And he'll be like, all right,
I'm not at that yet.
Yeah.
More with Andy Richter after this. We have some social media questions for you. Here's one Conan will enjoy. At Crystal Jane tweets, what's it like to be the true star of Conan, and what's the best part of your job?
To be the true star at Conan, well, I'm glad that she understands. And that's what the nicest part about being the true star is that,
It's humbling.
Yeah, I don't have to toot my own horn. They're the people who matter.
They know.
And the best part of my job is working with the people. And working with friends. They talk about life hacks. Work with friends. That's that's a shortcut to happiness.
Skull Mandibi asks, did you find that more wholesome comedians have more obscene personal comedic tastes?
Well, Skull Mandibi.
What a weird. Let's ask about you, Skull.
And it was. Do like dirty comics have dirty?
No.
Or clean
straight
comics?
Tell dirty jokes off stage.
Not really.
I don't know.
I don't think so. I think most clean comics, like we have a guy named Brian Kiley who's one of the best kind of clean comics there is, and he's not, he's a pretty straight-laced guy. He's not like some sort of filthmonger like me.
Polky66 on Instagram. Do you ever wish that the couch you always sit on during interviews was a pull-out lazy boy?
No. I do wish I had a desk to hide behind. Because you got the right idea. Like
lean on something.
You can lean on something, and it's really like from here down is not the best thing to be looking at on TV.
Without naming it, have you had guests you disliked?
Oh,
Without the name.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. I mean, nobody that's really there's Hollywood phonies. That's the worst thing.
Just get them right away.
Yeah, and they come out and and especially to me, it's in a big dividing line is in the commercial break when you say hello to somebody. Are they still in publicity mode? Because that I just feel like, what are you doing? You can be off the clock with me. I don't care. But you, like you say, you can tell that right away.
We play a game of If You Only Knew.
Okay.
Throw 'em at you, okay. Who's the first girl you ever kissed?
The first girl, Jana McCracken.
In Illinois?
In Illinois.
How old were you, Andy?
God, I don't, maybe 8.
You ever find out what happened to her?
No, I didn't.
Biggest splurge?
A house. You know what I mean?
You live in, where do you live?
I live in Burbank, yeah.
Good old Burbank.
I just moved to Burbank about a year ago to be close to everything. My kids are they go to school close by. We lived in the other house for about 11 years.
Where was that?
In Hancock Park in L.A. And it made life so much easier.
Favorite up-and-coming comic?
Oh, boy. There's lots of, probably Ron Funches.
If you weren't a comedian or a sidekick, what would you be?
I would probably, realistically, I'd probably be writing advertising copy. I'd probably be in advertising.
Any weird habits?
Just the normal weird ones.
Like? Okay.
Well, I've become I would say I'm very dependent on flushable wipes.
Really?
Yeah.
TV
I like
show.
how you backed off that right away. It's
TV.
The right choice.
I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
TV show you're embarrassed to admit that you watch.
Oh, I'm not embarrassed by much, but
I like SpongeBob.
Oh, I love SpongeBob. There's nothing to be embarrassed about watching SpongeBob. It's fantastic. I guess you know what? I probably those ghost hunter shows. I watch those with my daughter. I am absolutely disgusted by them. But if I'm flipping through and trying to find something for her to watch, and I see them because I know she loves them, I'll put it on. But I think it's just to get my dander up because it's like you guys are full of it in your affliction shirts.
If you were stuck on a desert island, what 3 things would you like to have with you?
Satellite phone. Well, no, I guess no. For survival. Well, it'd be like that. Well, here's another embarrassing show. That Naked and Afraid. You ever watch that?
No.
They put a man and a woman in the wilderness for 21 days, nude, and they each get to bring one thing, and it's usually like a machete and a fire starter.
What show is this?
It's called Naked and Afraid.
On what channel?
I don't know. One of those down the cable. Like the
396.
Yeah, exactly.
Most uncomfortable moment on Conan.
The one that comes to mind, it's not so much uncomfortable as it was kind of scary. Is on the old Tonight Show, he had some sort of race stunt with Terry Hatcher, and he slipped on the floor and smacked his head on the floor and got a concussion. And so that was, and I was kind of the only one that noticed that he actually smacked his head on the pavement. It's a cement studio floor. Because I looked over at our producers and they have a monitor right in front of them. They're both like laughing and smiling. And I had to run over and go, he's hurt. He got up and he couldn't, you should see birds flying around his head.
Finally, tell me something no one knows about you.
Oh.
Or are you a what you see is what you get?
I'm pretty what you see is what you get. Yeah, I don't know. I'm at a loss for that.
You're bored.
Everybody knows. Yeah, I'm pretty dull. So
Andy, you're the best.
Great to see you, Larry. Thanks.
Andy Richter, and if he ever leaves it, he could be my sidekick.
All right, I'll be here.
Thanks to my guest, Andy Richter. Remember, you can find me on Twitter at King's Things.